Welcome to this POSSE training video. In this video, we'll be covering what is a report, what kinds of reports are there in POSSE Web, and how can we run those reports. So let's get started. For starters, I'd like to explain that a report in POSSE is really any document that is automatically generated by the POSSE system. So anytime you're getting a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet out of POSSE, that's usually a report. Within these reports, there are three different categories. There are search and grid exports. So when you see some search results or a grid, then you want to export into an Excel spreadsheet. That's its own kind of report. There's also operational reports. Operational reports are those that we usually run during the workflow of a job. So for instance, the building permit report or the notice of violation reports are all good examples of an operational report. And then lastly, we have management or statistical reports. And those are the ones we kind of run on demand as part of management activities or in order to get specific data out of the system. Now, the first kind of report that I want to show you guys is a search export. So to do that, let's just go to a search here. Let's pull up the POSSE building permit search. And let's look for, let's say, building permits that are ADUs created within a certain date range. So we'll come down here and select yes on ADU filter, and we'll do the month of August. With our search set, we'll click search, and we'll see we'll have 32 results here that have returned. It's easier to see them when we expand it like that. And then when we come here to this export button, all we got to do is click on that and it'll download this results thing at the bottom of Google Chrome. It's an Excel spreadsheet. And if we click on it, it'll load Microsoft Excel and we get to see all of the results here in a clean Excel spreadsheet that we can then print, email, or modify to our liking. Similar to the export to Excel function is the print function, which is also over here at the top of the search results. This gives us a quick printable view of everything that we are seeing in the search. So rather than create an Excel spreadsheet, we can just get a quick page that's easy to print by just right-clicking and going to print, or using the shortcut Control-P to print from your browser. And this is opened in its own tab, so we can just close this out and go right back to where we were. Now, let's look at an operational report. To do this, I'm going to pull open the search again, going to clear it out, and let's just look for a new building permit here. So search by file number, and let's pull up this building permit. I'll hide the search temporarily, and let's take a look at the Processes tab. Operational reports are usually run in one of two places, either from the top drop-down here on the job or object, where we can see a list of all of the reports, including history and audit reports, or they can be run from processes, like the print building permit application or something similar. So on this job, let's go through here, and we'll notice this one that looks slightly different. This one has a little download arrow next to it. That implies that this report will automatically be saved to the Documents tab as soon as we run it. The rest of these reports will simply generate as a document in our browser, and we can save it if we want, but it won't automatically be added to the job. In the case of the building permit application, this one will be automatically added to the job every time we run it. So let's go ahead and try that. We'll run the building permit application report. And we'll see that it generates in its own tab, and we can see all of the information that would appear on the application, so it can be printed and sent to the applicant. We'll also notice that when we come back to the Documents tab here, that the building permit application final version has been uploaded and saved to this job as we just ran it, and it saved on the job here in the Docs tab. I'm just going to close out of that tab up here and jump back to the Processes tab. However, like I mentioned before, you can also run reports from processes. If I open the print building permit application, we'll see we have the similar drop down here for any reports that are on this process. And we have the same thing here where we can print and save the building permit application from this option here. But this one, we have a draft version that won't automatically save and will instead simply show us the document so we can review it and make sure that all the correct information is there. Let's try that. So we'll select the draft option. This one runs the same document that we were seeing before, but this time runs it with a draft watermark, so we can tell this is not the official document yet, but we can certainly review all the information and make sure everything looks good before we send it off to the applicant. Close out of that, and that's how you run operational reports in POSSE Web. Now, the last thing I want to show you on operational reports is two special reports called the history report and the audit report. Now, these are enabled from the background in POSSE, and they keep track of the history of everything that changes or is modified on this particular permit or whatever job they're enabled on. So for example, the history report allows us to choose a moment in time, a date and a time during the day, and run the report for that exact moment and generate a list of what all the details and their values are for that particular moment in time. So this is a large document, but if we ever needed to look back and say, what did this job look like a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, we could see that using the history report. Close that out. And then we also have the audit report. This does a similar thing, but instead of choosing a moment in time to show a snapshot, it instead shows a blow-by-blow of everything that's happened on this job date by date. So on September 20th, 2018, the online user created this permit, and then as for every one of these headers, we can see who modified it, when they modified it, and what things were changed when that user began making changes. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys is management style reports. To do that, let's go to the Building Business menu, click on the Reports link, and click through the different folder structures that we have built in here. Go to Permitting and Planning, Inspection, Completed Inspections, and for this example, I'm going to look at the Completed Electrical Inspection Summary. Now, management reports usually come up with a criteria window where you can input what kind of date range or other criteria you'd like to run the report for. So in this case, let's go ahead and run it for the first week of August in 2018. And then as well, from the top bar here, we can see that we have save criteria and share criteria. These are the same tools that are from the search criteria. And so if I was to save this, I could click save and just do first week August 2018. If this is something I search for regularly, and it does add it to the top of this criteria window. So if I run this report a lot, I can have certain sets of criteria that I can quickly open up from the top here. But as soon as I'm done here, I can go ahead and just hit run report. And that's going to generate the report in its own tab, run all of the information into a single document, and show it to me. From here, I can download or print as I need to. And just close that out. To recap, we first talked about what a report is, and then we discussed the three different kinds of search and grid exports, operational reports, and management reports. We also looked at how to run audit and history reports, and some of the uniquenesses around management style criteria and how to save your criteria. That's about does it. Thanks for watching.